The Cadazan is a Mediterranean revival mansion located in Sarasota, Florida. It was built in 1926 by Owen Burns for John and Mable Ringling. The name Cadazan means House of John in the Venetian language. The home's exterior features a variety of architectural styles, such as Venetian Gothic, Italian Renaissance, Moorish, and Spanish. After John and Mable were married, they went on their grand tour honeymoon all across Europe, and their favorite place they visited was Venice, Italy, therefore inspiring the main architectural theme of the Cadazan. The residence was their winter home, and their property was right on Sarasota Bay, occupying over 20 acres of land. The grounds featured varieties of tropical foliage and garden areas. On their property, they also built an art museum to house their extensive collection of world-famous art. Unfortunately, Mable Ringling died in 1929, the same year as the stock market crash, which greatly affected John. His declining health and mourning for his wife led to his death in 1936. He left his entire property to the state of Florida, the home, grounds, and art museum. Today, the home still stands and is a tribute to a time that has since vanished. The 36,000 square foot mansion sits on a waterfront site of 1,000 feet long and 3,000 feet deep. The home is 5 stories tall and has a complete basement, which is rare in Florida. The exterior of the home is finished with stucco and terracotta and is embellished with glazed tiles. The roof is layered with 16th century Spanish tiles, originally salvaged from Barcelona by John Ringling himself. Finding that hundreds of buildings were set for demolition to enlarge the streets, John had thousands at his disposal, and he ended up filling over 2 entire cargo ships. There are colorful portions of original Venetian glass on every window, and marble seen in a variety of different places. The detail work was whimsical and extravagant. Now let's tour the interiors of the home, starting on the ground floor. You would enter through a wrought iron and walnut front door, stepping into the entrance foyer, which gave way to the court or the parlor. From this area, you saw directly onto Sarasota Bay. This area was meant to impress, hung with Flemish tapestries and flanked with extraordinary works of the decorative arts. This room was also utilized as a secondary dining room when necessary if there was an enormous party of guests. The reception room was directly right and was used for Mr. and Mrs. Ringling as they greeted and received guests. This room too housed impressive pieces of art, especially the noted desk, which was done in the Louis XV style. The vase on top of the desk is designed by Tiffany and is made of sterling silver. From this room, one could enter the solarium. The room was originally all open, where air could flow freely through, but now the room is covered by windows. It was here that you could dry off from getting into the pool, have breakfast, or simply enjoy the beautiful, breathtaking views. Back inside, through the reception room, you entered the ballroom. It was said that this was one of Mabel's favorite rooms in the home because it housed a variety of her favorite objects. The floors were made especially for dancing and carried through into the reception room in case of a large party. The gilded coffered ceiling is adorned with individual canvases displaying dancers from around the world. There are 26 canvases in total, and each depict a different nationality. Moving from the ballroom, we enter the court or parlor. This is the main area of the home. Originally, it was going to be completely open. They decided in the end to enclose it. Mr. Ringling and Mrs. were avid art collectors, and during their time, they saw many Gilded Age mansions come to be demolished. They went to many of the estate sales and auction sales, buying the furnishings, wall panelings, and even chandeliers. And that is the case for the chandelier we see here. This chandelier came from the original Waldorf Astoria Hotel, which I have talked about in a previous video. Please be sure to check it out. The room was filled with objects of notable families of the past. It was here that the Ringlings relaxed during the daytime hours. And because they spent the winter months here, they opened up all the doors and windows to the beautiful breeze and bayfront. From the parlor court, we entered directly into the breakfast room. This room housed a beautiful table and unbelievable chairs. The room was surrounded by colored glass windows that framed a beautiful view onto the bayfront. The valet room connected from the breakfast room through to the pantry. In this room we see original serving platters and flatware that the Ringlings used. Most of this is from Tiffany & Company and is sterling silver. The next room after is the pantry, where all of the dishes were cleaned and stored, along with some food. And then there's the kitchen with the original call bell system. The kitchen also leads to stairs going up and down, the servants' dining room, their sitting room, and a variety of other smaller necessary rooms. The tap room was a masculine room where liquor was served. There was a bar and beautiful stained glass surroundings, all done by Louis Comfort Tiffany. From the tap room, you could enter into the dining room. This was a beautifully rich room with opulent details everywhere, especially the coffered ceiling. Now this ceiling is actually made of carved plaster and not wood, therefore making it a lot cheaper, and you would not know the difference unless you were told. Now we can head upstairs either by elevator or by the stairs. These stairs are of marble and are very low rising. There is a separate entrance to go to Mr. Ringling's office and to meet with private clients. His office was located here and looked directly out onto the bay. This room also featured a private bathroom with a shower and even a barber's chair for him. From this room, it connected through to his closet and into his bedroom. His room was done in the Empire style and opened onto a terrace overlooking the front grounds. Mabel's room was right next to John's, and her bedroom was completed in hand-painted wallpaper. Her furnishings are by Francois Link, bought at the St. Louis Exposition in 1904. From her room, she could look out onto her prized rose garden. Her boudoir was to the right, where she got dressed and ready, with marble surrounds and mirrors throughout. From this room, you could pass into Mabel's private guest room, where one of her sisters would come to stay. There are a variety of other guest bedrooms on this floor, and let's take a look at them. Each bedroom was complete with its own ensuite bathroom, and of course, incredible views. This bedroom had a terrace which was on top of the solarium below. Every bathroom featured a marble sink and a beautifully painted medicine cabinet. Every bathroom was done in a different theme of colors. This guest bedroom looks directly out onto the bay and is done in a Venetian theme. On the third floor, there is a game and party room, and it is from this room that you could look down to the court. There is another guest bedroom on the floor above, which is surrounded by windows. Some view this room as the finest to stay in. Tell me in the comments down below which room you would have liked to stay in. Climb the steps outside to ascend to the top of the tower, from the extensive grounds to the beautiful bayfront. Here guests were served tea and were shown the property. Thank you so much for watching. See you next time on Cultured Elegance.